concrete walls. There's a place for us where we could go, where we could be alone. Between city lights, we don't have to hide. I wanna go, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in our secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? I can't understand why we can't hold hands, but they don't know what we have is real love. Aren't you sick and tired of having to hide? I know a place, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in our secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow?
What? What's up? What's up, everybody? What's up, you guys? You ready? Y'all ready to do this? I don't know if I'm ready. I guess I'm ready. Let's do it. Welcome to the stream. It's time. What is it time for? It's time for you guys to ask questions and me to answer the questions. Nasser Kuwait. Sorry for cussing at me in Discord. He badmouthed me in the Young Rippers Discord, Bubby's Discord. Bubby's Discord is called the Young Rippers Discord, and only young rippers are allowed in it. But I get it on. I'm not young, and I'm, debatable whether I'm a ripper. But I got grandfathered in. Ha! Grandfathered. Get it? Bubby let me in. So I was in my Discord notifications, and somebody's like, F Bardwell. I'm like, hey, what did I do? You'd be surprised how many people say F Bardwell, despite, how universally helpful and loved I am. And yet, somebody. I think I should put some sharpening on this camera. Source cam room. Filters. Oh, there is sharpening on it. Huh. Oh, what about that? There we go. Oh, that's what you want. Let's crank that sharpening up a little. Let's sharpen that up. Let's make that look a little sharper. Okay, there we go. That looks good. Okay, we're ready. We can do this. This is you. You think you're a person, but you're not. You're just a line of text on a screen. A line of text for me to read. That's all you are. Just a stream of text. But I'm going to read you. I'm going to read you so good. You're not going to believe it. I'm going to read some of you. Not all of you. Not all of you. Some of you are just going to... I'm even going to know you exist. It's okay. If you leave a comment in Bardwell's live stream chat and he doesn't see it, does a tree fall in the woods? I'm going to read your comments right here. I'm going to answer your questions. Some of you guys are going to leave super chats, hit the $ right here, pay a couple bucks like these beautiful people right here. I'll read those just a little later in the stream, but if you want to make sure I get your question, boom, super chats. That's what it is. That's how to do it. And whoop, hang on a second. Boop, there we go. Beautiful people on the right side of the screen. My patrons over in the Discord server with their beautiful GIFs. I like this one. That's what I was watching during the, I'm going to assume this is an LFMAO video. Yeah, pretty sure that's LMFAO. Okay. What happened to LMFAO? Did they release like 2 albums and then just disappear? Let me know in the chat. Anyway, here we go. Q&A. They disbanded. I heard there was some personal drama between the two of them. That's a shame. They seemed like they were really getting along. Graydon Vincent wants to know. First question of the night. Is it going to be a good one or is it lame? Graydon thinks it's a good one. Let's see if you agree. Let's just put a poll up and see what you think. Graydon Vincent wants to know if you ever flown a Cinelifter. What was it and would you recommend it? I mean, does the FreeFly Alta X count? I have flown the FreeFly Alta X. That's a pretty big Cinelifter. It had a red camera. I don't think it had the red camera on it when I flew it. I mean, the Alta X is a little bit more than just like, oh, a Cinelifter. But, yeah, it was pretty good. I flew my Beast class, not exactly a Cinelifter, but it could definitely carry a camera. Oh, we need to put live. Yeah, you're right. We need to put live chat, not just top chat. Thank you. That's a good point. I always forget to do that. Not always. The Alta X is fantastic, but of course, you asked if I would recommend it. I'm not really qualified to recommend the Alta X over something else because that's just so outside of my really domain. So, Ryan Smith got another question from the regular chat. Ryan Smith, I'm new getting into the drone or quad life. I was wondering, being a newbie and never flying a quad, where should I start? Go for a crazy racing quad or something not so crazy? What are your thoughts? The first thing, and we got advice here from Fly High FPV with the same advice. Good advice. Say it with me. Sing it with me, kids. Start on a simulator. Pick a simulator. Velocidrone, Liftoff, DRL. There are some paid simulators. There are some free ones. If you search my channel for best simulator, we did a roundup. Me and Blenty did a roundup of simulators. But it kind of doesn't matter. Find one that appeals to you. It has to be an FPV focused simulator. I'm not talking about something like Real Flight that's more focused on like RC planes. Something FPV focused, drone focused. And then get a controller. And then I recommend that it be an RC controller, not like an Xbox controller. You can learn on an Xbox controller, but it's harder. That RC controller will translate over and you'll use it to fly your real drones. You'll use it to fly the simulator. So it's maybe you might invest $60 to $100 on a basic controller, which, I mean, that's not like nothing, but it'll be a good investment if you get into the hobby, and if not, you sell it to somebody else, get $50 for it. You know, it's a little bit of a punt. And then just practice in the simulator. And when you first start, it's going to be very difficult. You're going to crash a lot. You're going to be like, how does anybody do this? And that's why you should start in the simulator and not with a real quad, because that is exactly what will happen with a real quad the first time you fly it, except every time you crash it, it costs you $25 to $75. So practice in the simulator. And once you get to the point in the simulator where you can fly around a little bit, then you can go to mostly whatever you want. Even a powerful racing drone, as long as you're careful on the throttle, you'll probably be able to control it, and you can always turn the power down in beta flight if you really want to. So that's where you start. Now, North 49 RC says, try the small 1S whoops. I'm not sure I agree with that. I tried to teach somebody to fly a while back. It was in a Rotor Ride episode. And the problem with learning to fly on a 1S whoops are actually harder to fly in a lot of ways than 5-inch freestyle drones. Tiny whoops are very sensitive on the throttle. It's tricky to manage altitude, whereas a heavier quad has more momentum, more mass, and so the throttle is just a little bit damped. And the other thing is, if you try to fly a tiny whoop outdoors, you usually have a bad time. Not always, but they can be windy. You can lose it in a tree. So if you try to fly it indoors, it's very difficult to fly indoors because you just crash instantly. I don't actually think a 1S whoop is the best way to learn to fly, to be honest with you. 1S whoops, people think they're good for beginners because when you crash them, they don't break. And if you lose them or crash them or damage them, they're not that expensive. But they're actually trickier to fly than a bigger quad to a certain point. So I would say like something like a 95 millimeter or maybe a 75 or 85 millimeter, something like an Emax Tiny Hawk would be about the smallest thing I would say, like if you're looking for a first quad. Something like a Tiny Hawk maybe. But even that, I think, you're going to struggle. And you really should just start in the simulator. Always. Always. There you go. Here's LMFAO's newest member. Thank you. Thank you so much, Joseph Dahari, in the Discord server. Joseph Dahari got a new... Oh, yeah. I like that. That's good. I'm down. I used to have hair like that once. It's true. Sort of. Yeah. Good. Good. Really a shame. You know, it's really a shame. Like, for example, kids, call your parents, ask them about the Eagles. Ask them about the day the Eagles broke up. Such a sad day. Kids don't know who the Eagles are. Such an epic band. Ask them about, the rancor that broke up Fleetwood Mac. Like, think about how much great music the world lost because those amazing bands for all time couldn't set their personal problems aside and they broke up. And then LMFAO. Party rockin', every day I'm shuffling. Such a great loss. Pretty much the same as the Eagles, Fleetwood Mac. Just so many bands that broke up because of personal differences. Three people watching appreciate that joke. Oh, you shut your mouth. LMFAO are better than the Eagles. You shut your mouth. You shut your mouth right up. LMFAO made some good music. They made some good party music. They made some bangers. They're no Eagles and they're no Fleetwood Mac, and I will go to my grave with that. Stevie Nicks. Let's read some super chats. Oh, hang on. I finally got a question. The Discord is just sort of, having a good time and joking around, and nobody's asking questions. But I do try to pay attention to the Discord because they are my patrons, which means they all sign up. They subscribe to me. Every month, a payment is pulled out of their credit card. Some of them have forgotten they did that years ago, and they're still paying me every month. Don't even know it. But when they show up in my Discord server, I try to pay attention to them. For the record, I try to pay attention to everybody. I answer everybody's messages. If you message me, I'll do my best to get back to you. I would say I answer 85% of the messages I get, and the 15% I don't answer are either just like, hey, just wanted to tell you I enjoy your content and don't really demand a reply, or weird oddball questions that I have no idea what to say, and I'm just like, I'm moving on with my life. 85%. That's what I think. But during the live stream, I pay extra attention to the patrons. And this question is from Fede. I have a question concerning this video. I saw that they used VRX and VTX in the DJI drone for having plenty of video signal without having line of sight. It's very straightforward, but would it be possible to do the same thing with Crossfire? So you're referring to, I can't play this video. I don't think I can play this video on stream. I'm not going to play this video on stream for fear of maybe getting a copy strike. I don't want to do that. It's this video. It is a very cool video. And they fly a drone and they chase this downhill mountain biker. Can we get a drone shot? We had a drone shot. Right there's a drone shot. They chase this downhill mountain biker through the streets of, I think it's Chile. And one of the things that they do is they put a GoPro up in the air with a repeater on it to help them get the video signal. In fact, they show, hang on. I am not going to show the video so I don't get a copy strike, but I might be able to show still frames. So there's a GoPro there with a signal booster. A DJI drone with a signal booster on it. And what's going to happen is he's got a ground station and it's repeating the signal, basically. So this is a thing. This is a thing that's done. It's not done very often, but it is done. So what you'll do is the drone will have a 5.8 gigahertz transmitter on race 8, okay? The DJI drone will have a receiver on race 8 and a transmitter on race 1. And your goggles will be on race 1, or you'll have a ground station on race 1 transmitting to your goggles. So you add a tiny bit of latency, but it's actually not that much latency because it's all analog and it's just bing, bing, bing. The electrons just choop, choop, choop through. And I've seen it done previously with a flying wing. The wing was on 1.3 gigahertz, sending up to the DJI, sending down on 5.8. So it's a thing that a repeater like that is like a thing. Now, could you do it on Crossfire? Yes. Yes, absolutely. So with Crossfire, what you would do is you would need a Crossfire module on the drone, on the DJI drone hovering, okay? And you would need to, I'm sure you could do it. Like, I'm going to have to speculate about the wiring. Like, expansion port, Crossfire. I don't know if it has an input, RC input, ground, VN, PPM input. You could do PPM input, but that would be kind of lame. Yeah, you could do it here, Crossfire input. So you would have Crossfire output from a Crossfire receiver, and you would feed that into the Crossfire input here, and then you would have the module it would transmit just like instead of getting a crossfire signal from your radio, it would be getting a crossfire signal from the receiver. I bet that would work. That's the kind of thing that TBS would make work. Now, I mean, it would be... Oh, people want the video link. Really? Okay, fine. I can do that. Here's the video link. I bet that would work. What's the minimum ESC amperage for a 5-inch, asks Ricardo Ferreira. What's the minimum ESC amperage for a 5-inch? It depends how hard you're hitting your motors. For a typical freestyle drone, I would imagine you're pulling 45 to 60 amps during normal sort of usage. And on throttle punches, I would guess you're going over 100 amps. So based on that, divide by 4. Theoretically, a 30 amp rated ESC with like a 40 amp burst rating probably wouldn't explode. Most ESCs today have much higher amp rating, and it gives you additional headroom and durability. So the absolute minimum, like an honest 30 amp rated ESC, might be able to not explode during flight, but realistically, you probably want more. I would say 45 amps is as low as I would really feel comfortable going. Super Deluxe in the chat. I picked the right way, the right day to wear this shirt. Yeah. Super Deluxe. I don't know what you're repping, buddy, but your shirt's on stream. It's a good shirt. It's a nice shirt. Graydon Vincent wants to know how many people are in my Discord server. Well, I have something like 2,000. I have 2,000+ patrons. How many of them are in the Discord server, though, I wonder? Let's see. How do I... Oh, I can't do that because this is the browser-based interface. I don't know. Like 800, 900, I think. I don't know. How many are active? Okay, let's read Super Chat. It's active. Oh, it's hopping. My Discord server is hopping, kids. It is hopping. It is active. Yeah, buddy. We got a lot going on. You definitely want to join my Patreon. I mean, like, if I don't want you to join just to get access to the server, but, I mean, that's up to you. I'd rather you join just because you want to support my content and you like what I do. But, I mean, the server is hopping. It's hopping. People are super helpful, too. Etc. We got a question here from Livestream chat. Wait a minute. Where am I? Here we go. Do you run your camera out the front on the QAVS? Second time flying, I cracked my DJI lens. I mean, my TPU protector didn't hold up. Yeah, no, that's not going to do jack. That's not going to do anything. No offense. This TPU protector is a fantasy. It is a wish, a dream. That's not going to protect anything. What is that going to do? You can push on that with your finger. That's not going to do anything. I'm sorry. I mean, I can get my QAVS down. I run it exactly like that. Yeah, that's how it mounts. The problem is it's tricky to figure out exactly where to place the camera, because if it's too far back, then you can see the standoffs, and not all cameras are the same, but the same length. I'm pretty sure on the other one, hang on. We had we changed the camera plate a little bit on the JB QAVS. Let's see if I can get a picture of it for you to give you a little more versatility in the camera mounting. Yeah, so that's not, I don't know if that's better though. So you can see it's a little tricky to see. Let me see if you can make it bigger. This is for the DJI camera. You can maybe, does that go back a little further? I don't think it does. We gave you the vertical and the horizontal slot in case you want to try to move your camera back in front a little bit. There's only so much you can do, unfortunately. Okay. That's how I run mine, though. I think he just got unlucky. I mean, you take a direct hit, you're gonna take a direct hit. Day Cole wants to know, what's the best camera for HD0? Runcam Micro or Foxer Digisight? Runcam Micro, in my opinion. Better than Foxer Digisight. Foxer Digisight's okay. Okay, I gotta get these super chats. People are paying super chat money and they're not getting their super chats read. And there's only so long I can tolerate that happening. So let's do it. Mike Speedy FPV, thank you for a 20-pound super chat. Hope you're well. And one love, brother. One love, brother. Bacon Ninja FPV, thank you for a $10 super chat. Just saying thank you for the help yesterday. What are your thoughts on HC0's recent announcement to make their firmware open source? Personally, I'm pretty excited. Bacon Ninja, I am also excited that they've announced that they're going to do that. I talked about this in the last live stream on Sunday in some depth. In fact, hang on. Let me make sure. Blunty has volunteered to make live stream clips for me. I have my live stream clips channel, but I haven't been... It has mostly just been FPV news, because making the live stream clips after the live stream has been whatever. I haven't been doing it. It's a lot of work to rewatch the live stream. So Blunty volunteered to do it. Thank you, Blunty. I'm going to make sure he gets that discussion. Like, where is Mr. Blunty? Here, it's Blunty. We're going to have to get him on the Trello board. He's probably watching right now. Okay. So what I said yesterday about it was, it's very exciting and it's a good thing. Okay, it's a good thing, period. But for it to be meaningful, it has to attract a community of developers and a community of users. And there are anytime you have a commercial project and it's intermingling with open source, there's potential for the incentives to be messed up in a way that makes open source developers not want to give their time. So I want the HD0 open source project, when it eventually happens, I want it to end up like Express LRS, where there's this wonderful community of developers working on it, that there's an open source hardware design that anyone can implement. Since the project is starting as a single company developing the product in a closed way, I think that it has to be carefully done for it to succeed as an open source project. That you have to sincerely want to open it up in a way that sometimes companies don't. Whereas if the project starts open source and stays that way, and then later maybe becomes overlaps with commercial, it has that open source foundation in its roots. So I want it to succeed. I hope it does succeed. But just saying that they're going to do it isn't enough for me to act like it's a done deal yet. Okay. Philly Style FPV, thank you for a $5 super chat. Different quads will have horrible range, anything over 200 milliwatts. Are your streams at the same time every week? If only there was a way to know when my streams were. If only there was text at the bottom of every single one of my streams with the time of my streams. If only it was there on every one of my streams. Yes, it's at the exact same time every week, and it always has been for the last 3 years, at least 3, however long it's been. Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern, Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and then the news, I think, originally was on Monday for like a few weeks and then moved to Tuesday. I can't remember. Yes, they're at the same time every week. Every week. Every week. Randomly, different DJI quads will have horrible range. So this is a weird one, Philly Style. It's a weird one because, by the way, thanks for your $5 donation. For $5, you'd think I could just politely tell you they were at the same time and STFU instead of making a big deal out of it. So, you know, what's my problem? I don't know. Thank you for your donation. When you say randomly, different quads will have horrible range. What I think you're saying is that times this quad will have good range and sometimes it'll have bad range. The same quad, sort of randomly. And that's a weird one. Because, like, typically you would have bad range because something was wrong with your quad, and that quad would always have bad range. Or all of your quads would have bad range, and then something's wrong with your goggles. But if, like, randomly different quads have bad range, that's hard to figure out. Like, could you have a bad antenna connection in your goggles? So the fact that it's happening randomly on multiple quads kind of tends to skew us towards your goggles as the problem. If possible, I would try to test them on a different set of goggles. Can you get one of your buddies to swap you goggles for like a week or loan you their goggles for a day? If they have DJI goggles, or if all your friends are poor and don't have DJI, you know, what can you do? Hang out with poor people. I'm joking. It's a bit. People are so sensitive. You know, I was very unhappy the other day when you made fun of poor people who can't afford DJI. It's a bit. It's a show. This is a show. And I'm doing a bit. In case you thought everything I say on Livestream is my unfiltered, true, and sincere personal feeling. Okay, glad we got that out of the way. See if you can borrow a set of goggles and test your quads on somebody else's goggles. That's my recommendation. Does it matter if the flight controller, Sway on FPV wants to know, does it matter if the flight controller is mounted at the back or the middle? No. Short version, no, doesn't matter. Long version, no, it doesn't matter. Okay, I love that joke. I love that joke so much. I'm looking up a video for you. Come on. Oh. What is it? There we go. Got it. So this video discusses... Hi, Joshua, in a hotel room. Oh, I remember that trip. I was in Virginia Beach. Virginia Beach is a beautiful place. I was right on the shore. And every 15 minutes, a fighter jet would fly overhead with some guy learning to fly fighter jets all day. Just... It was cool, like, the first 7 times it happened. Like, oh, fighter jet! Then finally you're just like, oh, shut the hell up! Stop flying over my hotel! Suffice it to say, I didn't fly any drones there. At my hotel. It's a nice hotel, too. I like that hotel. It's a good trip. So, this is the video that talks about why it's okay, but the short version, it's Sway on FPV, is it's fine. There is a small effect. Yeah. Bannister Post says, maybe if you did fly your drone, they would have stopped. Yeah, I'll bet they would. I swear to God, when I arrived, I was like, oh, this hotel's pretty fun. I could fly in the parking lot. And the fighter jets went overhead, and I was like, nope, not even going to think about it. Of all the places to violate the regulations about where you're allowed to fly, this is not the one. This is not the one. Anyway, fans of FPV, good to see you, man. I hope you're doing well. Lindsay Moore, I see your question there. Lindsay Moore, you've asked the question 3 times, but you asked them at a respectful interval. No, you didn't. Did you? I saw it like a while back. Now I see you asked it like 3 times in a row, I think. I don't know. Maybe he didn't. Maybe my my plugin is messed up. The Xylo Stax ESC. As far as I know, it's supposed to support bidirectional, but I have heard reports just by people complaining to me and asking why it doesn't work. You're not the only one who, when you turn on bidirectional, the Xylo Stax ESC seems not to work. It should work. You should ask Get FPV support why it's not working, man. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have a better answer for you. Kyle T, thank you for a $5 super chat. We got to get some of these super chats. We have too many super chats. Kyle T wants to know. No, keep reading. Keep leaving the super chats. Do you think it's a wise idea to wait for the HD0 goggles or to pre-order the new VRX? I'm looking at switching some of my quads to HD0. Kyle, if you want to get into the HD0 system today, you should pre-order the VRX right now. And I say that because the time frame for the goggles is, in this day and age, you never know. HD0 says they'll have goggles in the hands of beta testers in the May timeframe. That's the best case scenario. For all we know of freaking, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse will come out of the ocean. And oh no, now there's no plastic in the world for 6 months. I don't know. Like in this day and age, who knows, man? If they have a batch of VRXs today, rather than wait for an indeterminate amount of time for the goggles to come out, right? Let's say the beta testers get the goggles and there's a problem with them and they have to go back to the drawing board. The actual manufacturing, you can buy goggles right now. Will it be in May, June, July, August, September, October, December? We don't know. We have hopes and dreams and plans. We don't know. Spend the $200 or whatever it is on the VRX now. Enjoy your system. And if the goggles come out and they're amazing, sell the VRX to somebody else and buy the goggles. That's my opinion. Josh Murrah, thank you for a $5 super chat. Just love what you do. WTFPV, thanks for a $2 super chat. I'm not going to read that comment, but thank you for your super chat. It's just a joke, but I'm not doing that. Orange Julius FPV, thank you for a $10 super chat. I've got the Speedy Bee V2 flight controller and the 45 amp ESC. When I yaw right and left, the motors rev up and shoot to the moon. What should I start with to adjust? I'm on the Betaflight 4.3 stock tune. Okay, so you're trying to solve a problem with PID tuning, but it is not a PID tuning problem. It's like if you went to a massage therapist and you said, I have a fractured vertebrae. And you said, can I get a massage to help me with that? They'd be like, no, you need to go like to a surgeon or an orthopedic, whatever. So your problem where when you yaw left, right, the quad just shoots to the moon. This doesn't seem like, oh yeah, you need to fix your PIDs. I mean, if it just spontaneously shoots to the moon on its own, that's a big problem. You got something else wrong with your situation. Now, maybe what you mean is, if you take the stick and you go, pop, 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 the quad goes, that's semi-normal. But if you go da-da with your stick and it goes all by itself, something's effed up, okay? Something's effed up. So I don't know which of those it is. But let's assume that it's, if you go like that, then your quad climbs. That's normal. It's normal that if you do rapid yaw movements, the quad will gain altitude. Okay? And it has to do with the fact that yaw authority on these quads, it doesn't come directly from prop thrust. It comes from motor torque and counter torque. And the yaw axis just has very little authority compared to the other two. So if you try to ask the yaw axis to do something crazy, it'll go to the moon. What can you do to fix that? I mean, you really just need motors with more authority. Maybe, I don't know. But why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Why are you going dot, 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 dot? Assuming that's what you're doing. Got a question here from Xenix. Xenix wants to know, is it worth using an MMCX to SMA pigtail, or is it fine to connect an MMCX antenna straight to the VTX? It's always better to avoid connectors if you can. Every connector adds a small amount of loss. It's not a big amount, it's a small amount, but it is some small amount. So given the choice, I would always use a direct connect MMCX antenna, hard mounted to the frame. I mean, given the choice, but like SMA is not the end of the world. Okay. Continuing with the super chats, Obsidian K9. Thank you for a £9 super chat. Would a Mavic interfere with the Nazgul video signal? Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. My Nazgul video fully dropped out over a valley and fell over 100 feet. Glad I got it back. It is possible that a Mavic would interfere with a Caddx Vista signal. I don't know for sure. Like, I know that DJI can interfere with analog, so presumably it can also interfere with the Vista. Kmart FPV, thanks for $5 super chat. Is there a good way to protect the wire on the iFlight Go power lead? Silicone tubing or heat shrink? Oh, you mean this thing, the iFlight. I just happen to have one sitting right here for no reason. Dan636, BLHeli-S. Does 16.9 support bidirectional D-shot? Not sure. Okay, anyway. How do you protect this wire? You protect this wire by securing it in such a way that it doesn't get into the props. That's how you do it. Like, you could theoretically put some kind of wire braid on it or wire loom, but it seems like overkill. Just cinch it up in a way that it doesn't get into the props. That's what I would say. So if you really want to do it, what you do is... What you can do is this. Buy some parachute cord, okay? Buy some parachute cord. Go to the hardware store, if you like, and just find one that is close to the right diameter. Close to the right diameter. And what you're going to do is you're going to cut the parachute cord open and pull the internal poly part out and just use the braid on the outside as wire loom. That's a way to help reinforce the wire. But I just tuck it under the battery strap, though. Yeah, like Bannister Post does. Just tuck it under the battery strap. Jonah, thank you for a $10 super chat. I was watching yesterday and installing a Rush VTX. When I tested it, I couldn't get it out of pit mode. And just then you suggested to someone else that they go to from race mode to free. Here's the super chat I owe you. Oh, I fixed it. I fixed it without even knowing. Thank you so much. Super Deluxe, thank you for a $5 super chat. I win the best shirt competition. I would like to talk to you about your car's extended warranty. Well, I will take the shirt competition, but you can just take that extended warranty stuff straight to hell. Vu Win, thank you for a $10 super chat. I tried changing out props, but it did not work and re-screwed anything. Do you have any thoughts? A link below of identical noise. Well, there's a Reddit link here, so let's go to the Reddit link. Always a good idea, right? So this is the noise that Vu is having on their quad, and let's see if we can hear it. I'm going to unmute. Let's see if we destroy our ears with this audio. Oh, well, it's muted. So that's your props. That kind of harmonic, that That's completely unhelpful. There's a little bit of an overtone there. That's your props. Yeah, that whistle is your props. Big Data Pimp thinks there's an upside down prop. I'm skeptical it would be flying that well if there was an upside down prop. Yeah, that's your props though. He tried changing props. I mean, it's like 100% your props. Acroweeboo thinks it's prop slipping. I'm not convinced. It's prop slipping is usually like a squealing noise. I don't think this is PID tuning. People think it's upside down props. It could be an upside down prop. It's not impossible. It doesn't. That's not my first guess. All of them are upside down. I don't think it would fly. I mean, I would barely take off if the props were upside down. But it's not a prop slipping. Upside down props just make so much less thrust. Super Deluxe says, go to a lower pitch prop. The blade is flattening out. Yes, I agree. That is what causes that. If you have a high pitch and thin prop, then it flattens out when it hits a certain RPM and it makes that whistling noise. Mouse FPV is sure it's frame resonance. I just don't think that frame resonance would cause that noise. I don't think it's impossible, but... I don't. Seems like a long shot. Oh my God! Cyber overkill, and all the people who are engaging with that. Let's just let that go, shall we? This is not the place for it. This is just not the place for that discussion. Especially when you start throwing personal insults. Now, Ciati is right. Ciati is actually right. That's a good point, Ciati. Way for Ciati to bring the truth. Ciati says, I doubt the props are flattening out because it's making the noise at mid-throttle, not full throttle. To be fair, Ciati, this was not his actual quad. This was another quad he found online making the same noise. But you're right. If they're making the noise at mid-throttle and then it goes away at full throttle, then it's not props flattening out, because that would happen above a certain throttle point and stay there. That does sort of point back to some kind of frame resonance, but it's pretty rare for resonance to cause that kind of a noise. Upside down prop. People are sure it's an upside down prop. Ooh. Mouse FPV, sure it's frame resonance. Vu says it's at high throttle only. Okay, then it's probably the prop is too thin and is flattening out. Like if you're running a really high RPM, a high kV motor, then that could be it. Ciati argues that higher pitch props are almost always thicker and stronger and will resist flattening out much better, and that a flatter prop is more likely to oscillate like this. There you go. It doesn't matter. Ciati, that's how you pronounce his name. Ciati. SIG term 15, Ciati. That's just how you pronounce his name. Thank you, Ciati, for coming to my defense. We've been friends for years. I am pronouncing his name correctly. Okay, moving on. DDOT. My quad is in stock Betaflight 4.3 and flies good, but my pitch is very fast. Roll and yaw are normal. When I go to do a flip, it's crazy fast, all stock rates. DDOT, if we take you at your word that your rates are the correct, so the first thing I would have you do, where's my sample flight controller? So I don't have a receiver to test this with here on the live stream, but what you can do, first of all, anytime you've got a potential problem with your rates, go into the receiver tab, turn on your controller, and look at this preview, okay? Look at this preview. Move your sticks and watch how fast this moves. This preview shows how the flight controller thinks you want the quad to move. So if you look in this preview and pitch and roll are normal, or sorry, roll and yaw are normal, but pitch is super fast, it means that the flight controller thinks you are telling the quad to move super fast, okay? Now, where do you go next? Next, you're going to go to the rates tab, and you're going to look at your rates. And are your rates all the same, like 670 or whatever? Or have you accidentally somehow just like cranked your rate up to a crazy amount accidentally? I don't know, right? You accidentally typed 700 instead of 70. That didn't actually change it very much. We should do this max rate, you know, whatever, right? What are you talking about? Is that, there you go. That's as high as it goes. Yeah. I can see that's... come on. So check your rates next. And then, in the receiver tab, check your endpoints. Move your stick up and down and confirm that it goes 1,000 to 2,000. Those are the three things I would have you check. Chances are that one of those is messed up. FVE 253. Thank you for a $2 super chat. Thanks for doing what you do. Thank you. My goodness. Kurt in the chat is pissing off the mods. Kurt says, I DM'd you on Instagram. For the record, DMing me on Instagram is not the worst way to get a hold of me. Like, messaging me on LinkedIn is probably the worst way to get a hold of me. Reddit DMs, not very responsive there. DMing me on Instagram, I will get to it potentially, but email is really the best way to get a hold of me. For the record. I DM'd you on Instagram. Could you help? It would be amazing. My flight controller comes up as USB and won't connect to Betaflight. So your drivers are messed up. What flight controller is it, Kurt? What flight controller is it? I only say that because here's why I say that while Kurt is answering. The reason that Instagram is like the almost really bad way to get a hold of me is that Instagram's messaging is garbage. It is garbage. It is garbage. Like there is, it's just so bad. You can't send Instagram messages except on mobile, which isn't quite true. They've changed it. Well, I'll get to that. And then in the mobile app, then the way Instagram sorts the messages is the worst. It's hard to keep track of who's trying to get a hold of you, who's responding to you, etc. It's so bad. And you can use Facebook Messenger to integrate with your Instagram feed and answer your Instagram inbox, but you can't see any photos that someone sends you on Instagram. You have to go into the Instagram app for that. So it's just absolutely frustrating trying to converse with people on Instagram. If like me, you have 500 conversations a day, it's impossible. Anyway, still looking back here for what flight controller Kurt has. It's a ProTech 25. So the ProTech 25 runs Betaflight and doesn't have any special drivers. What you got to do is you should try to download the STM32 virtual COM port driver. Can you connect to any other flight controller? Can you connect to any other flight controller? If so, then your driver's fine. I'm going to guess that your driver's messed up. What you want to do is download the STM32 Virtual COM port driver and install it. He says all of his other ones connect. Okay, then your driver's fine. Never mind. And your USB port's fine. Contact iFlight support. That's the next thing to do. Because your computer's fine. Your configurator's fine. Your flight controller's messed up. So, contact iFlight support. There you go. He says it shows up as USB, not like DFU. Maybe it's the USB socket on the flight controller. Possible. What about DFU mode, Kurt? Does it detect? Can you get it to go into DFU mode and flash it? It shows up as mass storage? What? The only reason a flight controller would show up as mass storage is if you're trying to do the black box, download black box. But it shouldn't do that except when you tell it to. Leo Ponce keeps asking, he's been asking for a while, how long do you think Vistas will be in stock? I have no way to predict that, Leo. Absolutely no way. Absolutely no way to predict that. Depends on how fast they sell. And I have no information about that. Secondary. I got your reply about the giveaway of the Tiny Trainer. I don't have the Tiny Trainers yet, though. So, like, I told you that you won. You replied. Now we wait. That's like I said in the message. It'll be a while till I get them. I think I'll have those prizes next week, and I'll be able to send them out. When I send them out, I will let you know the tracking number. But until then, there's just nothing to say. So no worries. I got your message though. You're all good. You're all good too, Leo. Leo Ponce. No worry. Going back to DDOT here with the pitch, the quad moves too fast on pitch. Thank you for 10 Canadian dollars. Preview is normal and all rates are 670. Endpoints all good. I have 7 other quads. They're all fine. Maybe the gyro is broken. Leo, so we can assume your controller is fine because your other quads fly okay. The next thing I would do at this point is I would default the flight controller. If you're on a Betaflight release candidate, on like a whim, take it back to release version of 4.2. Like, there's no such bug in 4.3 that I know of, but let's just check. And then flash it, and from the default settings, just set up your receiver and your aux modes and go try to fly it. Thank you, 702 Fly and Ride, for $2.50. Thank you so much. Very generous of you. Midwest RC, why in Discord are all channels read-only? You need to, Midwest RC, go to the welcome channel, and in the welcome channel, there is instructions about if you want access to the patrons only parts of this server. Wait a minute. No, where's that? No, it's under patrons welcome. Sorry. Why is patrons welcome in public channels, but welcome is in admin stuff? That's odd. Huh. Go to the patrons welcome channel, and this is what you need to do. Okay? This is what you need to do to get access to the server. If you are a patron and are not being tagged as such, here's what you need to do. Okay. Quad Doc wants to know, with your favorite GoPro settings mentioned yesterday, why is locking ISO preferred rather than setting min-max 100 to 400? Quad Doc, let's talk about that. First of all, after my discussion yesterday, where I said I lock my GoPro at ISO 400 because I had read that the GoPro's native ISO was 400 and dynamic range is best at the native ISO of the sensor. Ghost Branch FPV made a convincing argument that the GoPro's native ISO is 100. So if I can, I think he's right after our discussion. So I would set it to 100, not 400. So why am I locking the ISO rather than setting min-max? Locking the ISO, what you want, in my opinion, is for the shutter speed to be the only thing that changes. Locking the ISO at 100 will force the shutter speed to be as low as possible and give you the maximum amount of motion blur. Now, in a sunny day, you still won't get any motion blur. You still would need an ND filter. But locking the ISO at 100 means if you want a certain amount of motion blur, you want the shutter speed to be slow. And locking the ISO doesn't allow the camera to open up the ISO and keep the shutter speed low, right? So that's why I would lock it. I would want the shutter to be what is giving the exposure adjustment. Orange Julius FPV, thanks for another $5 super chat. I'm not in the yaw. I do 180 to 360 degree line of sight, then center the stick, and it jumps 2 to 5 feet up. That's normal. That's normal. I have to tell you, that's actually pretty normal. If you do a fast, especially like a full stick, 180 or 360 degree rotation, it's pretty normal to gain a few feet of altitude. You could be bumping the stick. Let's assume that you're not. What happens is the motors accelerate rapidly, and 2 of the motors accelerate rapidly and 2 of the motors decelerate, but the motors can't decelerate as fast as the motors can accelerate, and so you get a net increase in thrust. Jory FPV, thanks for telling me my desktop is unmuted. I unmuted it for that video and then left it unmuted. Sorry about that. You guys don't need to hear the Discord sounds. Apologies for that. I really should just turn Discord notifications off, or I should just turn the audio notifications off. Disable all notification sounds. Yeah. Incoming ring. Yeah, no. I'll just disable all notification sounds. That's a good idea. Yeah, there you go. Problem solved. That won't ever happen again. So Orange Julius, what can you do to improve this? In Betaflight, there is a parameter, yaw axle limit, which can sometimes help with this problem. What you're going to do is you're going to go into the CLI, and you're going to type set yaw underscore x. What did they change it to then? Did they change it? Is yaw XL limit not what it's called anymore? Damn it. Yaw rate limit. There it is. What is it currently at? Yaw rate limit. No, that's not right. That's the max. Damn it. What did they change it to? What the hell? Did they get rid of yaw XL limit? Well, F you. How do the... What the... Well, never mind. Never mind. There you go. Where did that go? It's gone, though. Okay. Brown Solo FPV wants to know, what do you think of the Hero 10 Bones? Will you be doing a review? Yes, I will. How many people are watching this right now? 400 people watching right now. I recorded the opening of my Bones review today. I have a rough edit of it. Do you want to see it? I kind of don't want to ruin it. I kind of don't want to ruin it. I guess you guys will... It's just a rough edit. You guys will probably watch the whole thing. Anyway. Okay, check this out. This is the intro to my Hero 10 Bones review. Are you getting the audio? You need the audio. I don't know why the audio cut out there. It's just a rough edit. So there's no color grade on this. There's no nothing. There's no audio. It's extremely rough. Damn it. I broke another one. I know what I need. I know where to get it. Can you tell I've recorded this today? Quad dock, it should look the same as the standard 10. You're exactly right.
Excellent work, Dr. Jones. But you've wasted your time. GoPro is just about to release a new FPV-focused action camera, and it's pretty much guaranteed to be a new Hero session. I mean, what else could it be?
Okay, so that's what's coming. I actually hired somebody on Fiverr today to do a score for that, like an Indiana Jones style score. So we're gonna get that all dressed up. That's it. Thank you for watching my live streams. That's a little treat for the live stream people. Yeah. I had a lot of fun shooting that. Color grade. I'm literally going to get an original score written for it. It's going to cost about $150 to get some dude in Argentina to compose a score for that. So, $50 a minute. I think it's money well spent. Thank you, patrons. Anyway. Confused FPV. So yes, I will be reviewing the GoPro Bones. The direction that I'm going to take it is GoPro Bones versus DJI Action 2 versus RunCam Orange. Why? Because all three of those cameras are about 50 or 60 grams, and yet they fit in very different ways. And that's where we're gonna do it. Kim Fused FPV, thank you for a $5 super chat. Any word on the street regarding the iFlight Commando 8 release date? Was told April 10th, but no shipping date received yet. I got nothing, man. I got nothing. I don't know. Whenever they can. Whenever they can. I'm sure they want to get it to your hands. Yeah. I mean, Mr. Death FPV, the reason I shot that intro that way is that everybody thought the Bones was going to be a new session. So that video is going to segue. The evil guy in the doorway says, "You wasted your time, Dr. Jones, trying to, going through the woods to get the last session from the temple." Because clearly GoPro is going to release a new session. But then it's going to turn out that it was the Bones. And it's going to be like, wah, 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 or is it? So. Compost pile, I replaced it with the Insta360 Cube because I thought in the video, in the original, that's, kids these days don't remember Raiders of the Lost Ark. That was a joke about Raiders of the Lost Ark. He takes sand out of the bag to make the weight of the bag match the weight of the idol. And so I thought if I had the Insta360, I would take the parts of the Insta360 off. Anyway. It Spawns wants to know, are there any apps that show where you can and can't fly drones? Yes. Let's see. Google Play. So one of the apps is Before You Fly. This is actually a bad one. I mean, it's not bad. This is the official FAA app. You should have it installed and look at it, but actually it's not the best for figuring out where you're allowed to fly. Let's see. What's the one that shows you the altitude squares? What's the app that shows you the altitude squares, guys? Where it shows you the Air Data UAV. That's not it. Drone Link. No. Hang on. Aloft? Is that formerly Kitty Hawk? Is this... Before You Fly shows the altitude squares? Are you sure? Can I see some damn screenshots? So Before You Fly shows you airports near you and advisories. So that's, that's good. Before You Fly does not do Lance approvals. It doesn't show you I don't think it shows you the altitude squares. Air maps. Air maps? Air map for drones. I don't know if that's... I'm not sure about that. That doesn't seem right. Air map shows altitude squares. That's what people are telling me. Air map is going to show you the ceiling in your area if you're in controlled airspace. And then what was the Lance one? Not air map. Aloft, formerly Kitty Hawk, it can do Lance approvals. Air map shows squares? Yeah, okay. People are telling me air map shows squares. Okay. So those are the three that I think you should look at. You should have Before You Fly just because it's the official FAA one. Quad Mods FPV, I don't think anything's changed about my mic gain. Check your volume, bro. But thank you for pointing out if you think there's a technical issue. I'm being told that Aloft shows the altitude squares too. I'm not sure about that. I guess do I have Aloft on my phone? Since they changed it from Kitty Hawk, I'm not sure I have it. Quad stuff. Air map. I have air map. Now I have air map, but not Aloft. All right. Yeah, I thought air map was like starting to charge money, and that's why people are switching from. There was something air map did that made people switch. Let's install Aloft while we're at it and get rid of air map. Is this my phone? April 23rd. I feel like I used... Huh? Which one of these is my phone? God dang it. Alright, anyway. What's up, Stingy? Yeah, so Aloft before you fly. And then there's another one. Air map. This one is the one that you used to use for Lance approval, but then they started doing some shady stuff. And I think people moved away from it. I think. Hey, Stingy. Stingy, what app should people use to check no-fly zones and ceilings and do Lance approvals? Why don't you tell us? Stingy would know. Honestly, folks, I fly at my house 90% of the time, and so I'm just in clear airspace and don't do I just go out and fly. Truth be told. Skyward for Lance approval. In 0-foot ceilings. Mike Bergman says he told you 5 times. Stingy told me 5 times? When did he? Air map. Oh, he did. Air map. Air map. Air map. He says air map. Okay, Stingy says air map. Isn't air map the one that started doing shady stuff? Yes, I am going to Rampage, even Rushforth. Eric Toft, good to see you, man. Abraham says air map was promoting a way to charge people per takeoff or something like that when the NPRM was being considered. Here, it's Blunty is giving me the info. Thank you, Blunty. I knew that we had covered this on the news, but I didn't remember the details. AirMap tweeted about a system that would allow people to charge per takeoff. That's it. They haven't done anything shady yet. But people were like, AirMap, what the fuck? Pardon my swear. They were like, AirMap, what the F? And then they started switching from AirMap. Well, some people switched from AirMap to Aloft, which is formerly Kitty Hawk, which is supposedly does the same thing, but better. Yeah. That's the issue, Stingy. It was these tweets that people are pissed off about, Stingy. There's no fees currently. It's just that people are annoyed at their political stance. So, but I guess they'll work today to do Lance approvals and everything. Can I use something to tell me what trick I did and play an audio track? How could a computer tell you what? Can I use a loo to tell me what trick I did? I think we got some typo issues here. Okay. Not Austin Ross says, I updated my Crossfire to work with the 69. I put in a race rig, and when I updated the receiver on my long-range rig, I lost all yaw stability. Didn't change any of the Betaflight settings, and I can't recreate the problem now that I'm at home. Updated the receiver on my long-range rig and lost yaw stability. I mean, check your receiver inputs, I guess, in the receiver tab. Was it just a one-off receiver? I mean, I wouldn't trust that it was a one-off thing. I would be very concerned Anytime you lose control, it's a big deal. Can I use a Lua script to tell me a trick that I did and play an audio track? Dark Rose, Lua scripts have access to your gyro and accelerometer data through your telemetry, and Lua scripts can play audio. The problem is, how will you write the script to detect a trick that you did? Detecting a trick just based on gyro and accelerometer data, I think would be a real challenge. Now, maybe you're up to that challenge, but I think it would be very, very difficult. Yeah, he said Lua. He meant Lua script. I just didn't put it together yet. You could try to do it based on the stick positions, but the stick positions don't really tell you what the quad is doing. Yeah, not Austin Ross. Having black box would tell you if the stick inputs went wonky. That's for sure. Cope wants to know, what should be my first 5-inch quad on a budget? Cope, can I please point you to fpvknowitall.com, my website, which is home of the ultimate FPV shopping list. Time for a little plug. This is your sponsor plug. I'm plugging myself. And for 5-inch freestyle, you know, we got suggestion for parts. We got, this should actually get pulled down. This is actually being updated to version 2, but it is currently not available. Come to think of it, not in stock. It's being updated to version 2, but on a budget, on a quote-unquote budget, I would suggest the Diatone Roma F5 V2, which is very, very good. And for an analog quad today, no, that's not the price. That's not the price. Let's see if we can find it. Notify me when it is not $269. I'll tell you that. They just haven't updated the price yet. Anybody got it in stock? $329. There you go. That's with a Crossfire receiver. Oh, and that's the 4S version only. Okay, no one has it. No one has it in stock. Just suck it up. Choose an option. Come on, baby. In stock. Holy crap. There you go. That's the one. $300 for an analog bind and fly these days. That's what they're going for because it's 2022 and everything is expensive. So there you go. Marcus C wants to know, is there any benefit to an F7 flight controller versus an older one for freestyle? I mean, the main benefit is that the F7 will be more likely to keep working on the next version of Betaflight whenever that comes out. But frankly, given where we are in the Betaflight release cycle, I don't think that's a major concern because Betaflight 4.3 fully supports F7s. Okay. I'm not sure if this is official. I think it's official, but I'm not sure. Betaflight 4.4 will not support F4s. I don't know if that's official, but I wouldn't be surprised to find out it was true just because the code is getting bigger and the amount of memory in the chips is staying the same. So, if you were to buy an F4 today, then theoretically you might not be able to run Betaflight 4.4 on it. I don't know if that's a fact, but that's what happened with F3s, for example. Betaflight 4.3 it doesn't support F3s. People who bought F3s can't run it. Betaflight 4.2 actually I think doesn't support F3s. So, the thing is though, Betaflight 4.3 is just going to drop in the next, hopefully, few weeks. And then how long is it going to be before 4.4 comes out? A year? More? 4.3 has been 2+ years in the making. I have to go back and do the math on that, but I think so. So, buying an F7 today, you're probably fine. Buying an F4 today, you're probably going to be fine for the next year or so, right? On an F4 today, you probably are going to be running at 4K PID loop, not 8K. I bet you couldn't tell the difference in a blind test. So it's not a deal breaker. The big advantage with F7s is the UARTs have inversion and are simpler to deal with. F4s, the UARTs are always a pain in the ass. So that's the biggest reason I would pick an F7 today, if you really want to know. Orange Julius FPV, thanks for another super chat. Orange Julius leaving a lot of super chats today. I'm building a Synolog 3.5. Any comments on the Beast H7 AIO 55 amp? Betaflight 4.3 has some issues with H7 chip and bidirectional D-shot. Has that been fixed yet? That's the first question. Chat. Has Betaflight fixed the problem with bidirectional D-shot and H7s? Anybody? Anybody know? Blunty, are you here? That would be my biggest reason for hesitating on an H7 today. Ciati points out, F7 processors will do 8K and D-Shot 600, and Blackbox does show improvements from both of those. I mean, I think you're right. I just don't think most people could tell. Like, I wouldn't be like, oh, it's only got an F4. I'm never flying it. Thank you, Lobo FPV, for a $5 super chat. Appreciate that. Steve Jobs wants to know, where can I get a decent priced Whoop AIO? 2020. What's a good Whoop AIO with VTX built in? That's a good question. Let's go to the new Tiny Whoop page on the FPV Know-It-All shopping list. I haven't made an announcement yet. There were a couple little typos that needed to be fixed, but this is here. And let's look at what kind of VTX and flight controllers we suggest here. So for the Happy Model flight controller is basically the one that we like. Now, this flight controller has just become available outside of the Mobula 6. It used to be you could only get the Express LRS version of this flight controller, which is the one you want, by buying the Mob 6. Hang on. Here in the, where's this link? Happy Model AIO X12, and then the Diamond F4. Here's the one. Here's the one you want. This is the hotness right here. The Happy Model X12. Now, you said decent price. This is $70. It's got a 12 amp ESC, plenty for a tiny whoop. Got Express LRS built in and Open VTX built in. But it's $70. And you can pre-order it now. There's also the Diamond F4 if you're trying to do a lighter weight one. The Diamond F4 also has Open VTX and a 5 amp ESC with Express LRS built in, or FreeSky. $65. These are really good. 400 milliwatt output. That's impressive. Is that right? 400 milliwatt. That's really good. There you go. That's a good one to get. Eclipse Space, if you're looking at Cinewhoops, if you're looking at off-the-shelf Cinewhoops, not building your own, I think that the two that have to be on your list are the GepRC Cinelog and the iFlight ProTech Pusher. Neither of them is perfect, and people who are really picky about Cinewhoops will tell you all the reasons they're bad. But if you don't want to put one together yourself, both of those are pretty solid. If you're not too picky. Ciati points out that the 400 milliwatt Happy Model board is oversized and won't fit in a bunch of the frames. But it'll fit in the Happy Model frame, right, Ciati? Obviously. Graydon Vincent. Graydon Vincent wants to know, what do you think about FPV names? Does everybody need one? No. No, everybody doesn't need one. I'm just Joshua Bardwell. I know sometimes I go places and they try to like put me into the race as know-it-all or something, and I'm like, can you please just put JB? I wouldn't say that I have an FPV name. I'm just JB. Or Joshua Bardwell. I have been in other cultures where people gave themselves silly names, and so there's nothing wrong with it. I don't have any judgment about people who have names. And then you say, can you judge mine? Scale FPV. I don't judge your name. Your name is your name. I have no judgment about it. It's not true. I have in the past judged a person's name. Here we go. So I used to have a friend who was a DJ. He wasn't always a DJ, but one day he decided he wanted to be a DJ. And he decided he played Psytrance. And he decided that his DJ name was going to be Insight. Insight, right? Insight, like you've an insight. Because, DJ Insight. Okay, fine. Except he spelled it in Psy T. He spelled it Inside T, because he's trying to make a play on Psy, right? Except we all just were like, hey, nice to meet you, DJ Nipshit. We were like, no, that's not a thing. You can't do that. That's dumb, and you can't do that. We judged. We judged his name. Mostly, I don't judge people for their names. Your name is your name. It can be whatever you want. Is he still, does he exist? I mean, what are the chances that anyone else in the world came up with that exact line? Here we go. Nope, nobody. Oh, wait, hang on. It auto-completed. Oh, no, it didn't go anywhere. He didn't go anywhere with that name. He either dropped that name or he just didn't become a DJ. He didn't make it as a DJ. Okay. DJI. Wait a second. No. DJ. Nah, still nothing. Still nothing. Okay. If I looked him up and he was like super popular, I'd be like, oh, well, I guess I was wrong about that. Scale FPV. I don't know why you have that name or what it means. Good luck with it. Okay. Austin Ross, what do we got here, man? Let me mute my desktop. He says you got crazy noise here. What do you got, Austin Ross? What are we doing? What are we doing? What's happening here, my friend? Twitchy movements. Oh, where you lost yaw control. Okay. I mean, you're bobbling, but maybe that's just the wind. When did it lose yaw control? Oh, something's going on. That's for damn sure. It says 140 is where it got weird. All right, 1 minute, 40 seconds, it gets weird. Well, you've landed, that's for sure. That's a problem. You're carrying the quad in your hand. We're going to take off. 140. Does it happen right when you take off? Okay. Oh, that was bad. Oh, no, that's a problem. Yeah, no, put that right down. Put that right down. You need to land right now. Okay, good call. So that could be a bad yaw gimbal. The way it just jerks to the left like that. That could be a bad yaw gimbal. That would be my money on what that is. It could be a loose flight controller. Super Deluxe, good point. Get out of here. There's an ant. There's a big black ant walking around my room, and it's not welcome. And if it brings any of its friends, we're going to have a real problem. Okay. That could be a loose flight controller jerking and causing the quad to move. Yarbs thinks there was a battery dangling. A battery dangling and jerking around could cause that. I think he would have noticed if that's what it was. I don't think it's... Luke's Vids thinks it might be ESC noise. No, I disagree. ESC noise... Did you see how the rotation was like just on the yaw axis? Gyro noise... I guess in theory you could have noise just on the yaw axis. It seems like a long shot. Movement exclusively on one axis, to me, it feels like that's like a gimbal problem, not an ESC problem. Mike Bergman says, what if the ant was a different color? What do you... Let's work that into our comedy routine. It was only... That's the other thing. Eirik Toft, excellent point. It was only yawing left. It never yawed right. If you have a gyro problem, you would expect it to go back and forth, maybe. That feels... I want to see what your gyro was doing. Yeah. Now, Brandon Bean says just log it. The thing is, Austin suspects that it might be the receiver. It's extremely unlikely that a receiver would send incorrect data at all, but it's extremely unlikely that the receiver would send incorrect data in such a way as to cause just that one thing to happen. It's nothing's impossible. But TJ Richardson asks, could it be a motor issue? No. So here's my rule of thumb for and of course nothing's 100%, but my rule of thumb is with a quad X layout, motor issues cause it to move on a diagonal axis. Think about it. If a motor has a problem, that arm will drop. On a quad X layout, a motor problem causes movement on the diagonal axis. Two motors have to change to cause movement on the pitch or roll or yaw axis. So if you had a motor problem, you could see a yaw jerk, but you would also see the arm dip. And we don't see that. We just see the quad jerk to the left. We don't see an arm dip, so it's not a motor problem. My first guess is that your yaw gimbal is having a problem and it's jerking to the left. That's my first guess. Okay. Ooh, good little troubleshoot there. And the beautiful thing about, you remember the radio show Car Talk? Do you guys remember that? I used to listen to Car Talk on the radio. And they would have people call in and people would describe their car problem and they would give their answer. And then the people would go away. And every so often they would bring the people back to see if they got the answer right. But that's the beautiful thing. I give my answer, you go away. If I'm wrong, hey, what happened? Nobody knows. We'll never know. Cameron Robichaux, thank you for a $5 super chat. I just started and I don't have a drone. I'm practicing on DRL Simulator. Do you have any recommendations on what else to do? So, Cameron, first get to the point in the simulator where you feel basically like you can control the drone without, like, I mean, you don't have to be super good, but you could basically take off and fly around, and you're not there. When there's in the beginning when you fly drones, you're like, and then you crash. You just slowly get more and more out of control. And then when you get better, you're like, oh, no, I got this. Oh, no, I got this. And then you get better. If you get to that point where you're kind of mostly in control now, that's when you're ready to fly the real thing. Then once you're ready, you got to pick what drone you're going to buy or what drone you're going to build. And then you start flying it. So, a thing you could do is start building your first drone while you are learning in the sim. But once you build it, you're gonna want to fly it, right? So, you know. DDOT, thanks for a $5 Canadian dollar super chat. ESC to flight controller wires I ran between the ESC and the flight controller. Makes sense. I unplugged and ran over the top of the flight controller, and now my pitch is normal. Maybe the wires were too close to the gyro. I mean, DDOT, look on the flight controller and find the gyro chip. Oftentimes, the gyro is on top of the flight controller, so... I mean, if you suspect that those wires were touching the gyro in some way, it's pretty weird if it was just affecting the pitch axis, though. That's pretty abnormal. What's the height on the standoff of the Mark V I just reviewed? Where's the Mark V? Oh, there it is. Oh, hang on. Oh, let's see here. The rear standoffs, I assume is what you're asking about. Get in there, son. Can't read it from the back side, you dork. Can't read it from the back side. 25 millimeter. Let's just double check that. Okay, Grandpa, lift up your glasses. Okay, Jimmy, 25 millimeters. Yeah, the rear standoff is 25 millimeters. The front plates are, well, that's harder to judge because it's not a plate. It's 25 millimeters between the two plates, though, I think is the number you want. Cyber Overkill wants to know any advice on getting your neighbors comfortable with quads. Do you warn your neighbors when you're testing? No, I don't. I live in the country, man. Well, I live in unincorporated Knox County. We don't warn each other about nothing. Once upon a time, my neighbor had a bunch of cars parked in his yard. Whatever, not like a ridiculous number, just some cars parked in his yard. Tow truck pulls up. Literally, a tow truck drives up into his yard, hitches up one of his cars, takes it away. I'm like, oh, I guess he had it. Guess, you know, like your car's broke down, you can't drive it to the shop, so you call a tow truck. And they come and get your car and they take it to the shop. I don't know what's going on. A little while later, he comes back. He comes knocking on my door. He says, hey, did you see anybody, come take my car? I was like, yeah, a tow truck came and took your car. I thought you were getting it towed away. He was like, no. Somebody stole my car. I was like, okay. I don't know what the did it get stolen? Did it get repossessed? I don't know. Oh, we don't, not like we don't. I don't want to make it like we don't look out for each other. Like, if I had thought someone was stealing his car, I'd been like, hey, bro, somebody's stealing your car. Like we keep an eye out for each other, but we don't get in each other's business. So, Once upon a time, my neighbor down the street had his daughter got married, and he had a gigantic church wedding out on his property. And there were probably 25 or 30 people who drove down the street, just cars going down the road. And, you know, we're just like, oh, I guess it was loud music and, like, it was loud Christian music. But, you know, we could hear the music, and it's like, yeah, whatever. Just do your thing. Do your thing. Just live out in the country and do your thing, and, you know, try not to bother people, but also try not to, you know, let people do their thing. And you do your thing, and everybody gets along with everybody else. Archimedes is correct. There once was a neighbor's donkey coming to my property. The neighbor's donkey kept escaping. They called him Houdini. They couldn't keep him in. He kept escaping. And we'd just wake up and there'd be a donkey in the chicken coop. I may have a picture of that. Donkey in the Chicken Coop, by the way, a famous song by Google isn't gonna. Oh, that's too bad. Google has not identified through its AI that there was a donkey in that shot. And I can't find the shot. I have a picture from way back when of a donkey in a chicken coop. Here, I'll give you this instead. Oh, no, you didn't. Oh, no, you didn't. Oh, no. That chicken stole that carrot. Hops, where did your carrot go? Where did your carrot go, Hops? Oh, man. So rude. You gonna go find it? That's right, Hops. Go defend yourself. Good times. Yeah, good times. I don't have any video of the donkey, though. What's going on with a? Can you just play the video? All right, that video doesn't want to play. Go figure. Yeah, good times. Wish I could find that picture of the donkey. I don't have any chickens anymore, Neek. We're getting guineas next month, but no chickens at the time. Toady RZ, the bunny can have carrots every now and then. It's okay. It's okay if he has carrots every now and then. The bunny doesn't exist anymore, so for what it's worth, he lived a healthy life and now does not live that life anymore. How do you get your neighbors comfortable with quads? The single best thing to do is to let them have a ride along, to be polite, to let them know. If you live in like a neighborhood where they might be a little bit more concerned, he did not die because we gave him too many carrots. That's not why he died. And I guess I don't know that for sure, but we didn't do it like a post-mortem. He just was dead one day because he's a rabbit, and rabbits, that's what they do. Yeah, just to have a good relationship with him, and decide how much you care about annoying them versus keeping things harmonious. Give them a ride along. It's not specific to quads. Like, how do you get along with your neighbors is the question, right? That's the question. So, like, if you were to ask, well, how do I, get along with my neighbors with my quads? How do you get along with your neighbors, period? Do you play music late at night and piss them off? I mean, you just have to decide how you're going to manage that relationship. It's not specific to quads. Give them a ride along, though. They'll be a lot more excited about it. Probably, find out how they feel about you flying in their yard before you fly in their yard. DDOT, thanks for another $5 Canadian. It's a Maytech F722 HD. All the stuff is on the bottom. I mean, if the stuff is on the bottom, then the wires could have been messing with the gyro. That's possible. So on the Maytech F722 HD, oh, literally all the electronics are on the bottom. What the hell? Maytech, why did you do this? Why did you not put anything on the top? Wow. Interesting. Yeah, okay, so I would definitely run the wires over the top of this flight controller so they're not potentially touching the gyro. Definitely, 100%. Interesting. Sean England asks, you have recently mentioned disliking Tracer. Not just recently. Any story to that? No, there's no story. It's just that Tracer is... I was going to say Tracer is objectively the worst of the modern high-performance control links. And that's a bold statement that isn't 100% true, but... Tracer uses only FLRC modulation to do 250 Hertz. That is the only choice. Express LRS and Ghost can do both LoRa and FLRC modulation so that you can do between 50 Hertz and 500 Hertz, which means that you can choose with Ghost and Express LRS, you can choose whether you want low latency, or whether you want improved range. Now, Ghost has the limitation that it only goes to 350 milliwatts. So, Tracer goes up to 1 watt. So, there's some situations where Tracer will have better range than Ghost. Express LRS goes to 1 watt and can go all the way down to 50 Hertz or all the way up to 500 Hertz. Express LRS, they're even working on adding FLRC modulation to Express LRS for situations where it makes sense. Okay? So it was a really weird and arbitrary decision that Tracer only does 250 Hertz. And I think I know why they did it. And I think that the reason they did it is that crossfire packets are so big that even with FLRC, they couldn't go faster. And going down to LoRa, which has better range but a lower data rate, they would have had to go down to, well, they recently talked about adding FLRC, or adding LoRa to Tracer, and it would have been 50 Hertz. And people look at Express LRS and go, what are you talking about? Express LRS can do whatever they do. Is it 500 Hertz on LoRa? Yeah, they can. And it just doesn't look good competitively. So I just think that when you take everything into consideration, Tracer has less to offer. Now, what Tracer does have to offer is the Crossfire ecosystem, which is extremely mature and extremely robust and easy to use. Flashing Express LRS compared to flashing Tracer or Ghost, Express LRS is a pain in the ass. Cue all the people saying, it's not that hard, I do it all the time. I do it all the time too. It's not that hard, but also compared to Ghost or Express or Ghost or Tracer or Crossfire, it's a pain in the ass. So it's not like there's no upsides to Tracer. It's just, for me, if I want high performance, I'm going to run Express LRS or I'm going to run Ghost. If I want long range, oh, wait, I'm going to run Express LRS or I'm going to run Ghost. And if I want, like, a bind and fly with a built-in receiver, I'm going to buy Crossfire. The bottom line is that Ghost, and especially Express LRS, in terms of link performance, Crossfire and Tracer are behind the times. They just are. Crossfire maxes out at 150 Hertz. It has fantastic range and penetration. Express LRS will beat it. especially if you run ExpressLRS 900 megahertz. And ExpressLRS goes up to 500 hertz. Now, ExpressLRS will not go to 500 hertz and beat Crossfire for range. You can't have both of those things at once. Okay? But you can have either of them. It's a little unfair because Crossfire at 50 hertz will go farther than anyone needs, at which point, who cares? It's just a dick measuring contest who goes further. But Crossfire maxes out at 150 hertz, and it has to use FSK modulation, which is like, give me a break. If you lock Crossfire at 150 hertz, ExpressLRS will destroy it in terms of range and penetration. It's just worse. So that's my opinion. Ghost needs to release a 1 watt module. Immersion RC, are you out there? Are you listening? The fact that you're limited to 350 milliwatts is a shame. Anyway, Crossfire. So my take is, my personal take. This is not my recommendation to you as a reviewer. This is just my personal take for my quads. Crossfire, fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'm not adding it to any new quads, but it's fine. Ghost and ExpressLRS? Ghost, easy to use. Pretty good performance, great range. ExpressLRS, not as easy to use. Great performance, great range. Higher output power. Love it. Tracer? Nah. Quad dock, you're better. Be better than that. Crossfire is good enough for Steel. First of all, didn't Steel switch to Tracer? I don't know. To say it's good enough for Steel, so it should be good enough for you. Yeah, okay. But that's, I mean, that, what kind of, I don't think that's a good attitude. Hey, everybody. Mr. Steele says this is fine, so no one should care about anything being better. He's the bar. Yeah. I'm not saying it makes me a better... I'm just saying... Yeah, Ciati says Steele switched to Tracer anyway, so... Aber the Ham has a good point. Neither you or Stingy could distinguish 500 hertz from 50 hertz. Somebody suggested that we should do another test where we use race gates. That when you're not flying gates, you don't notice the difference. But as soon as you start flying gates, you do notice the difference. Yeah. Mike Bergman points out, Steele also doesn't set up smart audio on his quad. He just uses the push button to change channels. So, you know, he's a great pilot. Maybe not quite on the cutting edge of technology. Most people couldn't tell 50 hertz from, 500 hertz during normal flying. It doesn't mean that I don't care and I don't want like a better technology. Anyway. Oh my God, guys, we're coming to the end of the stream. I just looked at the clock. It's 9:59. Ciati, are you streaming today? Cameron Robichaux, thank you for a $5 super chat. Is 3D printing common in the community? Yes, incredibly common. In FPV, incredibly common. Brandon RC says, I guess if Mr. Steele comes to fly, you're not going to tell him to change channel. Yeah, no, that's pretty much how it goes. Steele flies on at least he used to fly, I think, on F7. And he would show up, and he'd be at the flight line, and, like, you're using Raceband or whatever, and he'd be like, is anybody flying? And, of course, everybody would be like, no, because they want to watch him fly. And so he's like, is it cool if I fly? I mean, I don't want to make it sound like he was a dick about it. He totally wasn't. But he would just show up, and he'd be on F7, and he'd be like, is it okay if I fly a pack? And everybody would be like, yes, of course, Mr. Steele. And then everybody would get their goggles out and watch him fly his pack. And he would just fly on F7. But it was no big deal. Oh, Ciati says he switched to Race 8. Fine. Anyway. Ciati is streaming tonight. It is 10 p.m. It's 10 p.m. That means I'm done, and Siati is going to start streaming. So if you want to keep your streaming going, he's posting the link. Monday Q&A. What questions could you possibly have that I didn't already answer? Siati, it takes a lot of guts for you to do a Q&A after me, after I have answered all the questions. Do people just show up and be like, nah, Bardwell answered it? D-Man FPV says, I paid $10 for a super chat and it never popped up. I'm going to guess you didn't get charged $10 for the super chat, D-Man, but here's what I'm going to do. We're going to double check. I'm going to guess you didn't actually send it through, man, or it didn't go through. Okay? But here's what we're going to do, man. Just real quick. We're going to look for supers. D-Man FPV. Here is my super chat and stickers activity. I don't think it happened, man. D-Man, you're not here, dude. I don't think you got charged. I don't know what happened, but you didn't get ripped off for $10, so I think you're good, man. That's gonna do it, folks. We are done. Y'all have a good night. Siati, have a great stream. Happy flying to everyone there, and I will see you throughout the week. Bye, everybody.